What's up, guys? I'm Daemonxel, and I've had a lot of people ask me, how do I invest into my characters? What should I focus on so I can get a higher raid score, so I can achieve more in arena, so I can just do more with my overall roster? And yes, it is a complex question because some characters are better than others, and overall, what should you be doing to get the best bang for your buck, because this is a resource management game as well as a collector game. So let's talk about it. All right, so we're talking about how to bring up your characters to get the most out of them. I'm gonna bring up my roster real quick, and it's nothing really super on my end. Yes, I am a dolphin, and yes, I have been shadowed by those who are free to play, and that's because I went really wide with my roster, investing in this character and that character. Whereas if you're laser focused on what you want, yes, you will be higher than where I am currently in the game. I only have one Gear 9 character, but overall, right? What should you be focusing on in these characters to bring them up? So I'm going to bring up a graphic here that I've been working on. Yes, I will be making infographics down the line for each character, each team, and when we finally get events in, I'm going to do like a calendar, like basically what I've seen done in other hero collectors like Star Wars, Galaxy of Heroes, as well as my background in Marvel Strike Force. I'm going to want to bring those infographics down the line when we start getting more, because yes, we can all argue that we are currently right now in an extended alpha or beta of the game. But let me bring this up and show you exactly what I feel is the most important things to focus on when building your character. All right, let me bring up Photoshop here. All right, so when building a character, there is a level of importance that you really should follow. And the first thing above anything, what you should focus on is star level. The star level of your character dictates the stats that you're going to get, the multipliers you're going to get, how much health pool. Basically, the higher the star level, the higher the difficulty you can do, right? Difficulty 4, and let's not even talk difficulty 5, but you really kind of need 7-star characters to shine in that. But it's not just star level, you need the other things as well. We have gear tier, we have character level, we have abilities, we have glyphs, we have all of this, but you should really focus on star levels first. And yes, it's a slow grind getting to that 7-star, especially with some of those horrible challenge store options until we get the challenge store rework. Yes, I know it is a slogfest to try and get your characters up to 7 stars. I think Veiled Shot did a spreadsheet on the math, and it takes roughly, I think, 90 days if your character's on a guild node. Unless you double up, if you're getting more energy, right? You can actually get that character in about I would say about 30 days, 40 days, somewhere around there. Whereas a hard node character, if you're not refreshing, it could take you up to 6 months to get a character up to 7 stars. But since that is a slow slog, the next thing we need to focus on is our actual character level, because the character level, you get so many additional buffs while going up levels. My level 50 characters, right? They are not connecting with a lot of their banes. They're not sticking them. Even with glyphs, sometimes it's a hit or miss. Let's see, my Isengard, right? They're mostly, when they were 50, even in chapter 2, pre-glyph, I was not sticking all my banes. Post-glyph, Dunhar is getting his bleed off, I would say, roughly 70% of the time. Azjak is getting his bleed, his expose, maybe 50% of the time. And that's due to the lack of focus. Now, once I brought them up to 55, I had more focus. The glyphs I had on there had more focus, so they were able to stick them a little bit more. Now, once I get them up to 60, they're going to have that max focus on that character, and anything I put on there through glyphs is additional, so I'll be able to stick even more on that. So yes, character level is actually very high importance, especially if you want to excel in the raids. Now, as you can see through my account, I don't have many 60s, right? I have a few level 60s right now. I got this scored in power. Let's just do this to level instead. And as you can see, I have what? 2, 4, 6, 7 characters at level 60. And then I got one at 58 and a few others, mostly scattering at 55 and down below. Now, obviously, these characters are getting hit really hard. They're not able to stick what they need to get stuck onto the enemies to get me those big scores. Now, yes, I am hitting 4 million plus in Chapter 1, but I'm not getting 900 across the board. Team 5 needs a lot of work. And that's because of the character level and in conjunction with star level. But the next thing we need to focus on is abilities. And yes, abilities is a huge portion because if you actually have your abilities maxed out where you want them per character, because we all know that you don't want level 6 abilities on every single character, on every single skill. You'd have to be a Kraken to do that. But sometimes the resources are used better elsewhere. So yes, sometimes, depending on the character, abilities will actually do you better than character level. So these two can be interchanged depending on the character, such as Lord Balin, right? Lord Balin, as long as you get his his basic up to 4, so that he's cleansing every single turn, and you get his special 2, I think up to a 4 or a 5, where the stamina is reduced, so you get that every 3 turns. You can use him at basically gear tier 5. You can use him at 4 or 5 star and still excel very good in chapter 4 of the raid, which is the hardest chapter of the Mines of Moria. So yes, the abilities does matter depending on the character. But as a rule of thumb, yes, you want to get to level 60 and then you want to get your abilities up to where you want them on those 60s. Obviously, you can work in tangent with these because we are bottlenecked due to the epic ability materials as well as character XP. I know I'm feeling that grind, that bottleneck. Trying to bring my characters up to 60, as well as farming abilities, as well as farming shards in the guild, because it is finite the amount of energy you can use without having to dip into your gem pool. What I'm ending up doing currently right now is if a character's on a guild node, I use my 3 refreshes that we get during the day on that character to get the shards I need. Then, if I have the gems, or the gem income, because I am a dolphin, I will buy gems here and there, especially if there's a character coming out and I want to do a video for you guys on those. But I will up my gem pool a little bit here and there. If I have an extra $5, maybe I'll get $5 or $10, I'll get extra gems, just to kind of stockpile away. So what I'll end up doing is I'll refresh that 120 energy on the guild farm through that 100 crystal investment, and I'll run that on the highest chapter, which I think is chapter 5, on the last node, to get the more ability mats so I can raise these levels. So yes, I've been doing that so I can bring up my guys a little bit faster. Obviously, if you're free to play and your gem supply is lacking, do it within tolerance of what you can. If you're really close to something, say you are maybe 30 shy of purple mat and you want to get that tier 6 ability or tier 5 ability, yeah, maybe spend the 100 gems, refresh, and get those 3 spots. And always, we want to farm in goes of 5. But I'll get to that right after we finish up with this. Now, after abilities, obviously, is gear tier. The higher the gear tier, the stronger your stats are. But you can, again, if your abilities are leveled and your character's at level 60 and your star level is a 6 or a 7, you can actually do 900 scores with a gear 7 character. You can do it with a gear 6 character. Obviously, the higher the gear, the better you're better gonna get. You're not gonna have to micromanage. You're not gonna have to focus on, I'm getting hit really hard, so I should really just have to restart again and again and again. A rule of thumb: get your characters to gear tier 7. Try to get as close to level 60 as possible and get your abilities at least to level 4 before going higher and going to someone else. But again, because of the new glyphs, we also have glyphs in the mix. Now, I would say that glyphs and gear tier are interchangeable. They are equal importance, right? because your glyphs are just going to magnify everything you have on your character already. But it's going to give you that little extra. It's going to give you your extra focus. It's going to give you your extra health pool, your crit damage, your crit, chance, your attack. Everything that you want extra is going to be in each one of those glyphs. And the glyphs, the reason they're under the gear tier is because they are dependent on the gear tier. So if you have a level 9 glyph that you pulled off of someone else because you got a better glyph, and you throw it on a person that's gear tier 5, well, that glyph is now going to downgrade or downshift itself back down to a level 5. You're only going to get basically what that glyph was at level 5. Now, when you bring up to gear tier 6, it'll bring itself up to that level 6 as well, but it's going to downshift to whatever your gear tier is. So that's why we have it underneath the gear tiers. Now, as I was saying, with each of these characters, let me bring up the game here. Each of these characters, they're a little bit different, right? He's a level 60, 7 stars, but he's got less power than everyone else, and that's because I do not have his abilities maxed. I only have him at 4s going across, and I have his passive at a 5. Now, obviously, if once I bring these up to 5 and 6, he's going to be a lot better. If I bring him up to gear tier 8, he's going to do better. If I get better glyphs, he's going to do better in the raids. And some characters need more work than others. I find the Isengard team needs a lot of investment, such as glyphs and everything else, so you can stick in Chapter 1, so you can stick it in Chapter 2. And I actually have to start breaking them up. I take Arwen out for my Elves, I throw them in with my Isengard for Chapter 1, so I can get a 900 on them. I can't, at its current level right now, I cannot get a 900 unless I go through about 30 iterations of the match with them. But as you can see right here, 55, 52, 55, 55, 55. So obviously you have to bring him up to 55. I can bring these all up to 60. I have 2 at 6 star, I got 2 at 5 star, and 1 at 7 star. So that's going to throw it into the mix as well. These are all gear tier 8. Uglok is gear tier 7, but most of all these guys' abilities are at 4s. I have a few, I think I have 1 or 2 at 5. I think Dunher I brought up to a 5 on his healing, yep. But as you can see, I still have a level 3 here. All of this in conjunction is going to help you score farther. Now, we talked about farming and how you should farm. And yes, there is a graphic. Let me bring it up here. Now, this was data that was pulled together on numbers of attempts through all sections of the game to do those campaign shards farming, right? And you want to do this in all 5 attempts. You don't want to just do 1 attempt for the energy, 2 attempts, because you're going to get less shards for your drops. Obviously, if you do 5 attempts per, you're going to get the most. Your average is going to be around 2 drops, which is about 4 shards. 1 drop is 28% of the time. You're going to get 2 shards here. But most of the time, unless you're like me and have really, really bad luck. Yes, I farmed the Arwen node 3 days in a row and got 0 shards. But if you farm it in, again, series of 5s, you have a greater chance of odds of getting those shards. So don't piecemeal when you are farming. It's not really going to help. So that also means when you're doing your guild farming, right? Through your guild campaign, using that guild energy, don't go with the full 20 runs. Just break it up into sections of 5. You'll have better chances of getting drops instead of just blowing your entire wad on that one pull. Break it up, and you'll have a better chance overall in the long term of getting these drops for you on getting that goes for character shards, it goes for ability mats, it goes for everything. Do it in phases of 5. You can go 6 if you want, but I find the best is 5, especially since hard nodes, you can only go max 5 before you have to refresh the node. But yeah, so that is basically what I have found overall to build a character, to excel a character. And obviously what you want to do is get all your teams, if you have 5 dedicated teams, get them all to at least ability level 4. Get them all to at least gear tier, I would say 6. 5 if it's your last team. But at least gear tier 6. abilities for. Try to get as high as max level as you can, level 60. Obviously, focus in on your bigger teams first, but also, if you're scoring 900 with one of these teams and you're doing it consistently, hold off on building more on that team and raise up your other teams, right? Because even if you can raise up that max team and push into difficulty 4 and get a higher score on that one team, overall, it's not helping your score. Overall, you're still hurting because those other teams are not scoring near that max. A rule of thumb is get all your teams to 900k difficulty 3 across the board. Then you can take another team and raise it up to difficulty 4 so you can score even higher. But you want that consistency of getting between 4 and 4.5 million. So you can get all the Gandalf shards. So you can get all the scrolls that you need to raise these glyphs. Because we all know you get crazy bad luck with glyphs, especially when you're trying to find the right stat on the right slot for the right set. So I hope this video helps you. This is just something I've been thinking about for a while now, how I can bring my teams up higher. And I keep bouncing around. And this is the best strategy I can recommend to any free-to-play players out there, any other Dolphins out there. So I hope this helps you guys. I hope this is informative, entertaining at least, hearing me babble going on and on and on. And I really love your support, guys. We are almost up to 300. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, and I really appreciate the feedback and the love you guys are giving me because I do this for the community. I love giving back. So yeah, other than that, have a great day, have a great week, have a great weekend, adventure safe, and good luck to you and your fellowship.